Good morning. I'd like to give you a little bit more information on that meditation technique that we talked about yesterday. And I figure the best way to do that is to kind of walk you through its paces. So, so let's just go through this. So you might want to close your eyes and just imagine with me. Imagine that something upsetting has happened in your day and you're feeling kind of upset, and then you decide you want to meditate. So now imagine you're meditating, and can you see how that little person inside of you is kind of thrashing around, and it's really difficult for them maybe even to sit still. They could be like a kid just jumping up every 30 seconds. So now imagine the rest of it, that you're sitting, this little person, you, however you want to see it, is sitting in the temple of your heart on a bench, and beside you is sitting your higher self or deeper self. And you don't have to try to do anything. That's really what I want to get across. If you just sit there in your little self and notice the thrashing and the jumping bean effect and whatever else is going on, and you can at the same time, you know that there's this sort of person, this other self sitting beside you, and is just so calm and quiet and peaceful and absolutely not flustered or upset or anything about this little thrashing being beside it. So as you notice that that person is sitting there, that this other you is sitting beside you, beside the thrashing you, you automatically begin to feel the energy emanating from that person. And in the video, it looks like I'm going from, what is that, right to left or something. But in my mind, in my experience, it's always the little thrashing person is on my left, and the deeper self is on the right. So just so you know. Anyway, it may be different for you. I don't know. So at any rate, you feel, without even trying or doing anything, you can just feel this energy emanating like a wave from this other you, this deeper you, this wave of calm and peace and acceptance. And as you notice that, and you begin to put more awareness on it. I mean, that's what noticing is, right? And as you put more awareness on it, you kind of settle in deeper into it. And then you have more awareness on it, and then you settle in deeper. And so it's this very easy process of naturally flowing over with your awareness. Eventually, your awareness is entirely inside the deeper self. And you're calm, and you're experiencing that calm yourself. And beside you is that little thrashing person who's still going through whatever they're going through. Maybe it's calming down a little bit, maybe it's not. But either way, you're just sort of allowing it to be there beside you, doing what it's doing, while you're sitting in this calmer, grounded, centered place. And you don't want to pay too much attention to what's going on over there with the little thrashy person, because, attention will draw your awareness over there, will draw your consciousness over there, and that's where you will be. So just, it's just there, it's there. You don't have to look at it or pay attention to it or anything. Just let it do its thing, and you can stay in that calm place. So I don't know if you could experience that as we went through this, but try it with your meditations sometime. And it's just natural. I'm kind of explaining the process, but I don't want to give the impression that that's the process you're supposed to do. That's just the process that happens. If as soon as you bring doing into it, it becomes a lot more ego-driven and less effective. So, as I was doing that this morning, because something upsetting had happened, and I was doing this process this morning in my meditation, and I started to notice all of these different I's that there were in there. There was the I who was the little thrashy person, and there was the I who is the deeper self, and then there's this other I above it all, noticing when I am in my thrashy person and I am in my deeper self. So there's like at least 3 of me going on in there. And I started to I just started to become aware of these different aspects of myself and what they represent. And the little thrashy person, another word for the little thrashy person could be ego, because it's the part of us that has forgotten that this is all a game and has gotten involved in the game and believes that this virtual reality, so to speak, is actually real life. And that's why it gets upset, right? The ego is the part of us that forgets that we're not the king on the chessboard or the queen on the chessboard, that we're not the little kid playing dress up and imagining that they're the firefighter or the princess or the astronaut or whatever, the doctor. And it's just gotten subsumed in the game. It's the part of us that's gotten subsumed in the game and mistaken it for real life. So that's basically what ego is. The part of us that's forgotten that this is not real, that this is all just a game and a dream, and one day we're going to wake up to our real selves. And the deeper self, the awareness came to me that it's like the heart. The heart is a really interesting thing. It's an organ. There's an organ called the heart, but that is the physical representation of something that's much greater. The heart is like the socket and the plug. It's the socket where the divine plugs into us, and it's the plug where we plug into the divine. And it's the connective point, and it's the conduit. And it's basically a little, what could we call it? Like an avatar of the divine living inside of us. It's not just us. The heart is a gateway to much greater things and much deeper reality. And that's what the deeper self is like. I mean, we say the higher self and deeper self, and there are all these words and concepts, and it's really difficult in a 3-dimensional frame to make sense of these. We often think of the higher self as being, this part of us that's out there somewhere, like we do God or like we do angels or whatever. We kind of have a distance from it. It's us, but it's not us. It's way out there. And in reality, that's not the case at all. We are like a little fleck inside this greater self that we call the higher self. And the higher self is just this fleck inside the divine, which is just a very high version of ourselves, right? It's just all, there is no separation. You can't separate the drop from the ocean. As long as it's in the ocean, and you know, in this metaphor, it doesn't work because you can potentially take a drop out of an ocean, but you cannot you cannot take yourself out of any of these layers of reality. So that's, I think just sometimes it's helpful to be aware of these things and know what we're really doing when we're doing this. And that was just what came up for me today. So I was going to share that with you and hope that it's helpful, and it'll come in handy for me sometime, I'm sure. So that's all for today, really, and I will check back in with you tomorrow and let you know what's going on with me, and hopefully it's something that's helpful for everyone. And that's really all. I hope that you have a really lovely day, both your little thrashy person and your deeper person, and the divine who is all of that. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Blessed be.